In Crossing the Moat, we're going to add some more challenge for our player. We're going to put in a lever that they have to pull in order to traverse the flaming lava pit. We're going to be using a lot of the same things we worked on last time: instance variables, events. Make sure you have your USB flash drive connected and that you have the step-by-step project guide open somewhere. We're going to create a lever. It's going to have an animation. We're going to give it an instance variable called pulled, which will track whether the lever's been pulled or not. This lever will be controlled through events that enable a floating bridge on top of the moat. So let's get started. If you haven't already, make sure you have your step-by-step project guide up. Go to the table of contents and find Crossing the Moat. This has all the steps that we're going to accomplish in this phase. The first one is creating the lever. If you haven't already, make sure your model platformer.capx, that this project is open and construct to. Under layers, I want to make sure that my game layer is the one that is unlocked and active. I'm going to go under object types and insert new object. I'm going to create a sprite called lever. Crosshair should appear and it should be going on the game layer. This sprite I'm going to get from sprite strips. So I'm going to go to the animation frames window, right click, import frames from sprite strip. And then in my assets directory, I need to find my 3x1 lever image. Press open. Make sure you specify 3 horizontal by 1 vertical. You can check the replace entire existing animation, OK, and OK again. This is our default animation. For the default animation, I'm going to get rid of a couple of frames. I'm going to get rid of this frame and this frame. Under my collision polygon, I'm going to use that great functionality we normally do, guess polygon shape. And then I need to go on to my image points. For X, we're going to have 35. And for Y, we're going to have 60. And close. I'm going to take the snap to grid off. It looks like it's already off, so I can zoom in. I want to move my player a little bit to over here. I like to place mine about right here. Cool. Let's go back to this lever that we just created. Right click and edit animations. We're going to add an animation. When the player collides with this lever, it's going to run an animation that simulates the lever being pulled back. So in the animations window, I want you to right click, add animation, and we're going to call it pull. Make sure that it's the one that's active. We'll do the same thing as before. Let's import the same frames from sprite strip. Let's find the lever 3x1. Confirm that it's a 3x1. Replace entire existing animation. Press OK. In order for this animation to work right, I got to make sure I have the origin points just perfect. So for frame 0, we're going to set it to 3560. For frame 1, 3665. For frame 2, 3860. Should be able to preview this. Looks pretty good to me. I might want to adjust some of those properties though for the pull animation. Let's slow it down a little bit to 3 frames per second. No loop, and repeat count is 0. And we're going to close this out. Similar to what we did with the castle door, we're going to put an instance variable on the lever so that we can track whether it's been pulled or not. So find the lever, right click, instance variables. we're going to click the plus to add a new instance variable. We're going to call it pulled. It's going to be a Boolean as well, because either the lever's been pulled or it hasn't been. It's a true, false, on, off, yes, no sort of situation. By default, false, because by default the player has not pulled the lever yet. And for our description, pretty simple, whether the lever has been pulled. Okay. And close. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. This floating platform right here is what the lever is going to control. Just like with the grass block from the castle door phase, we want to annotate the unique ID of this bridge because our game has multiple bridges. If you look in the properties bar, you will see that this particular floating bridge has a unique ID of 142. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to use that unique ID that I just wrote down in my code. At the beginning of this level, I'm going to disable the floating bridge. When the player collides with the lever, it's going to enable the floating bridge to move once more. So all this code needs to go in the level 1 event sheet. I'm going to create a new group that I'm going to call start of level 1. And for a meaningful description, events and triggers that occur at the beginning of the level 1 layout only. Remember, this bridge only exists on level 1, and we only want this event and its actions to occur on the level 1 event sheet. I'm going to go ahead and drag this all the way up to the very top. Let's add an event. We're going to be using this special system condition that fires once per layout called on start of layout. We want to add a sub event to that. In our sub event, we're going to be picking that floating bridge, the one that we wrote the ID down for. So choose bridge, and then pick by unique ID. Put in the ID from earlier. Mine was 142. Done. And for our action, we are going to inactivate the bridge. So go to bridge. And under bridge side to side, you should see there's a set active action. Make it inactive. So on start of layout, for any bridge instance that has a unique ID of 142, the following action is going to be performed. Its side-to-side sign movement is going to be disabled or inactivated. Take this event by the margin and drag it up into the group it belongs in, start of level 1. I'm going to go ahead and play and see what happens. I'm going to move over. And as you can see, the floating bridge, the one with the unique ID that you wrote down, is not moving. But the other floating bridges are. So if I try to cross, I'm going to fall to my fiery death. So now I need to write the code that allows me to use this lever. Let's create a new group. Add group. Let's call it exactly that, lever. For a meaningful description, events and triggers that control the lever and access to the final floating bridge. Press OK. Let's create the event that allows the player to collide with the lever. Add event, player. On collision with another object, the player will be colliding with the lever. We want to add another condition, however. If the lever has already been pulled, then we do not want the actions in this event block to run. So right click with just the condition selected, add another condition, and go to lever. is Boolean instance variable set. And the instance variable that we're concerned with is called pulled. But we don't want, if the lever is pulled already, we only want our actions to be performed if the lever has not been pulled. So we need to right click and invert. We need to make this condition an opposite. So if the player collides with a lever and the pulled instance variable is false, which means the lever has not been touched yet, then perform the actions. The first action we want to perform is to mark that the lever has been pulled. This will prevent the event from firing again. Set Boolean, pulled, true. The last action we need to perform is to start the pull lever animation. Add action, lever, and we want to set the animation to the one we created earlier, the 3-frame pull animation. Done, and drag this inside the lever event group. Let's see what we have so far. When the player collides with the lever, it definitely plays the animation, but we haven't added the code that's going to enable to activate the bridge. So let's do that now. Let's add an event for when the pull animation is finished. Add event, lever. Under animations, choose on finished. The animation we want to know when it's done is pull. We're going to add another condition to this. Right click, add another condition. We're going to choose the bridge again. Pick by unique ID and specify the unique ID that you wrote down from before. What we're saying here is that we want to know when the pull animation is finished, and we want to filter any action that we place inside this event block. We want it only to apply if it is of type bridge and its instance, its unique ID is 142. What do we want to do when the animation's over? We want to activate the floating bridge. We want its sign behavior to work once more. Go back to bridge, and under bridge side to side, we're going to set active. We're basically reversing what we did at the beginning of the layout. At the beginning of the layout, we said any bridge with unique ID 142, make it side to side sign behavior inactive. All we're doing here is reversing that. We're saying that the lever has been pulled, if that animation is over, and we're dealing with bridge unique ID 142, then activate it. Let it move again. Take this event block, move it inside of the lever event group. Let's go ahead and play. Now, when I collide with the lever, the floating bridge is activated again, and the player is able to move over to the other side. Let's go back to construct 2. If you want, in level 1, you can move your floating bridge. You can move where you actually put your lever. Also under Z order, you can put the alien in front of or behind the lever. It's up to you. And as always, lastly, Control S or save.